Okay, in this video we're going to look at how to format text that is on our page. So that's changing the appearance of the text and the color of the text as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm here in Dreamweaver. I'm just going to switch from live view to design view because what I've started to do is these sections here of text, these bullet points, were in UL tags. What I'm doing is I'm just double clicking each bullet point and just making sure it's also wrapped inside P tags. So it makes it into a paragraph by putting these P tags around it. I've done it with all these others, so I'm just doing these last few just to show you what I've been doing. So we'll just do this last one here and put that into a paragraph. These headings here we've previously done in other videos where we had just highlighted the text and made them into heading threes, and that's the same as what we did here for this one and this one. We also, in a previous video, made this title div. I think we haven't done that yet, so we need to do that. Let's make that into a heading 1 so that becomes a bit bigger. I'm not going to worry about its appearance too much here. In fact, I might just make it a heading 2. I'm not going to worry too much about its appearance here on the page because I know that when I switch to live view it's going to look pretty much okay. I might need to just work on it a little bit, but we'll do that in a moment. I'm going to switch back into design view. All of these bits of text here already come in paragraphs, so they're already wrapped inside P tags. Just need to highlight this bit down the bottom here, and I'm just going to make that a H5. So I'm going to make that quite small down the bottom there, but it's wrapped in a H5 tag. Okay, so now that our text is wrapped inside P tags or heading tags, now we can format those different bits of text that are on our page. So working on our style sheet over here, we now need to create some selectors that are going to target the different tags that we've created. So that'll be the P tag, the H3 tag, the H2 tag, and the H5 tag that we got down here in the footer. So coming over to the selectors, I just need to click the little plus symbol, and then I need to just delete what it comes up with, and I'm just going to type in P. So that will allow me to target anything on the page that is wrapped inside P tags, which in our case is going to be all of this and all of these. So now that I've done that, I can come over here and I can go to the text properties and I can set the text color. So I'm going to go for our light grey that we've got here, CCC, and just press enter, and all of those paragraphs turn into that light grey. Now I'm going to make the background of the wrapper div this dark sort of grey in a moment, so this text will look really clear on it. But that's how you can set the paragraph tags there. Now you can also come in and set the font family as well, and the font style and the font weight, which is whether you want it bold, and of course you can change the font size as well. I might just come into the font size, go to EMs, and I might just make it 1 EM, and then just have a look at that to start with. So that looks okay. Doesn't really look any different because 1 EM is equal to whatever the default pixel font was to start with, but by setting it to 1 EM it gives me a reference point, so I know if I make it 1.5 it will be 1.5 times the size of the original font that was set. Okay, the other thing that I quite like to do is I quite like to set line height. That's the space between your paragraphs. So I'm just going to come in here and go to EMs again, and I might set that to 1.3 EMs. And what that does is it just increases the gap between the lines of text. So that looks pretty okay there and is working out. Okay, the next thing to move on to is to target some of these headings. So let's do H3. So I need to go to here and create a new selector, and this time I'm going to target just the H3 tag. Okay, so I'm just going to press return or enter for that. Now in terms of the text, I'm going to come to a colour and I'm going to choose like an electric blue colour. So I might go for sort of that shade there. I'm just going to copy this so that I can use it for other elements on the page as well. So I'm just going to do a Control C. So now that I've set that, those three bits of text that were set to have a H3 have turned to that blue colour. I'm also going to set the font size here as well. So just scroll down. We'll have a look at font size, and again I'm going to go to my EMs, and this is where I can go to 1.5 EMs, and I know that's 1.5 times the size of the paragraph text, so I quite like that. I'm going to stick with that. Now you might notice that on this heading there's a bit of a gap between the heading and the top of its div, and that's because paragraphs and heading tags come with default margins already applied to them. Now if we go to layout and switch down to margin, you'll see that nothing has been set, but there is a default margin that's automatically applied. I need to remove that margin from the top of the H3 tag, so if I just click and say it is going to be 0, it will push that back up to the top of its div so that there's no gap there. Okay, the next one to come and do is let's go and do the title up here. So we know that that was a H2 tag, so I just need to go to the plus and the selector and then just type in my H2 and target that. Come to the text properties that we've got here, and then the color that I want that to be, I want it to stay white, so that's okay what it is at the moment. Let's just go and make it white anyhow, so let's just change that so we set the actual property for it. Let's go to the font size, and again what we'll do with this one is we're just going to go and change that to EMs, but this time we might make it 2 EMs and have a look at how that comes out. So that's a nice big font. The other key thing here as well, so I'm just going to quickly switch to live view so that I can see what's going on. Okay, so there it is in live view. Now I know that that's inside a div which is called title, so I just need to move that div. In a previous video I showed you how you can position this div around on the page and move it around. The other thing that you need to remember is that the H2 tag also comes with a big margin. So look, here's the top of the title div, but look how far the H2 tag is sitting down inside that div. That's because there's a hidden margin applied to that H2 tag. So let's go back to the H2 tag that we've created and just go to layout and just tell it that it's going to have margins. We'll set all the margins around that to be 0, so I'm just going to chain link that, and that brings it back up on the page. We'll just go and find the title div, and then we need to come down to the position, and we'll just position that in place. So I'm going to pop it there and just pop it a bit more towards the left. There we go. And if you don't know how to do this, this was shown in a previous video. We're working on the banner. Okay, just go back to my H2 tag that I've got over here, and what I need to do now is go back to text properties, and I'm just going to set the font family. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to manage my fonts, because I don't want to choose any of these default ones. I don't really like these default ones, so I'm going to go into manage fonts. What this does is it allows me to use a whole series of fonts that are going to be based from a web browser. So they're going to be based on a sort of a server, and when my web page loads it onto the internet, it's going to go and grab this font and load it onto my page. And that's a really great thing about web design at the moment, is that you can use really unusual fonts in your text, and they don't have to be image based, they can still be fonts. It's just that you're sourcing them from a remote server. You can actually filter these fonts. You can scroll down through them, or you can filter them, say here look, I just want to pick up for example this style of font, and then it just selects just those ones. You can go here, I want script fonts, I want here serif fonts, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm just going to take off the filters. I know the font that I want one called Pacifico, so I'm just going to do a quick search for it and then select it and say done. Then when I go back to add my font family, Pacifico is added to my font list, and when I click on it, it will make that text in the format that I wanted. I just need to now go back up to my title, and I just need to change the layout and go back to the positioning, because the text has changed, the style of the text has changed, it slightly needs to be repositioned again. So I'm sort of quite happy with that. There we go. Right, next thing to do is to come down and change the actual H3s. So I want the H3s to also have the font style, which is going to be, font family, which is going to be Pacifico. So I want them to take on that kind of look as well. And then finally down the bottom here, I haven't targeted my H5 yet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back in and add a selector, and I want it to be the H5 tag. And let's go to font styles. The color of that is going to be that sort of grey again, so I'm just going to make that the CCC. And I also want the font size. If we go in and change the font size, I want that to be in EMs, and I possibly want that to be 0.5 EMs. So let's just have a look. That's a little bit too small, so let's try 0.8 EMs. There we go, that's looking a little bit better there. Okay, I'm just going to quickly change the wrapper div color. So I'm just going to come to wrapper, background color, and just change the color to our dark color that we want, just so that our text starts to look better on this page. There we go, we can start to see how it's looking. Now with this text here, my H5, it goes right to the edge and right to the bottom of my wrapper div. So what I want to do is create some padding around that H5 tag. So I'm just going to come back onto the H5, go to layout, come down to padding. There it is. Going to click the link in the middle because I want them to all be the same, and just change that to, let's try 5px, and click off, and let's just have a look. So that should have created a little bit of space around it. In fact, I might just add in a little bit more there. Let's try 10px, and again, if we click off and go down, we should see that we're increasing the space around the outside of that. Now also the text goes really close to the edge here of my wrapper div. So I should come back to my padding, my paragraph style that I'm using here, and again I might add some padding. So I might do a left padding on this one. So I might change the left to be 5 pixels and the right to be 5 pixels as well. Let's have a quick look. It should move that text in off the edge. So let's just try a little bit more. That may not be enough. Let's go for 10 pixels on the right hand side, and we'll just see that it's increased the space down the side here, so the text is moving further away from that edge. One thing you'll notice is that the bullet points here have not taken on the light grey. That's because the bullet points are relating themselves to a UL tag. So for example, on this one I need to change the bullet points here, so I need to target. I know that these bullet points sit inside a div called left, so I'm going to create a new CSS rule which is going to be hashtag left, and then I want to target the UL tags. It's the UL which is creating the bullet points in the first place. Now I need to make sure that I'm targeting the UL tags that sit inside the div called left. Okay, so let's press enter and return, and then we need to just go and change the font color to make it the CCC, and then press return, and you'll see that the bullet points change that color as well. I think one final thing that I need to do is I need to get this heading free to move across, so it's more or less in line with the bullet points. So what I need to do there is come to my H3 tag. Now the problem is that if I start to change the layout of the H3, it will affect not only this one, but it will also affect this H3, and it will also affect this H3. Well, I only want this one to change. So to do that, I need to create a new rule to say only affect the H3 tag that is sitting inside a div called left. So by typing in hashtag left H3, any rules I write for this will only affect any H3 tags that are sitting inside a div called left. H3 tags that sit in other divs, like this is sitting in a div called main, will be unaffected. So let's give it a go. So I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to say that I want the padding from the left. Let's go for 40 pixels and see what that looks like. So that's moved the interesting facts across. So 40 might be a little bit too much. We'll just try 35 pixels, but you get the idea. You can just play around with that. And the key thing here is that it will only affect the H3 tag that's sitting inside this div, and it doesn't push these ones further across as well. Okay, one last thing that I want to do is I wanted the did you know to be in this kind of blue color that we've set here for these headings. So what I need to do is I would need to create my own class rule. So I'm just going to come here to plus, and this time a class is a name that you just make up. It's a rule that you just give a name and you make it up. You try and choose a name that relates to what you're trying to do on the page. So I'm going to call this dot blue text. Okay, so classes always have to start with a full stop, a dot, a period. So dot blue text is what I'm calling this. Now this does nothing on the page. Okay, I then need to apply this rule to part of my page. So what I'm going to do is first of all I'm going to set some properties for it. So I want the background color of it to be that blue. So hopefully I've still got that pasted. So I'm just doing a Control V to paste in that blue color that I copied earlier. And with the text as well, sorry, that's the background color I've set there. I need to get rid of that. I need to be working on text and paste. and I also want the font family to be my Pacifico. Now when I'm making these changes here, you see that nothing has happened over here on my page. That's because this class has not yet been applied on the page. It's not like a HTML tag which already exists on the page, like these were wrapped in paragraphs, headings. No class has been applied yet. To apply your class, you just simply highlight the text you want on the page, then come down here and choose the class from this drop down list inside properties. So if I say that should be blue text, it takes on look, the color and the font style. So I just need to highlight each one of these and just say you're going to be blue text. Highlight, and I would do this for all of those and just say you're going to be blue text. So that's a nice way for you to create a custom piece of text on your page, and you can apply this anywhere. So for example, say I just wanted one word to be different color, I can just click off. I can just highlight that word and then apply my class to it, and you can create any kind of class name you like and create any kind of properties to it, and then when you choose it, it will change that one word to be that particular class. You can go back and say none and it will put it back to how it was, and then you would just go through and just repeat this, applying your class of blue text. So that's really how you can use CSS to control the look of text on your page, control the padding around the text, control the line spacing, and how you can add in these individual classes to style the text on the page.